Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 10, The Next World. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of The Walking Dead, so I'll have to give a spoiler warning for everything up to Episode 10 of Season 6 of The Walking Dead. If you haven't seen up to this episode, you may not want to watch this video, otherwise things will be spoiled for you. So, this episode is the typical second episode of the season, or half season as the case may be, in which it is slow-paced character story that you often get on The Walking Dead, and frankly, it's episodes like these that make me weary of The Walking Dead as a whole. It's not that I don't like slow-paced character stories in general, it's that I don't like The Walking Dead's version of slow-paced character stories, as I don't think they're very good at doing them. That being said, I didn't hate the episode. It was alright, but nothing special. So the main crux of the episode is the story where we follow Rick and Daryl on a supply run. The two of them come across the Mother Lode, a whole truck full of supplies, but they then encountered a guy who steals the truck. They manage to track him down and take him back to the truck, and they take back the truck, but the man stowed away on top of the truck, which leads to a struggle that ended with the truck being submerged at the bottom of a pond. So Rick and Daryl knock the guy out and take him back to Alexandria with them. The guy goes by the nickname Jesus, whom I heard about from those who have read the comics, as apparently he's a quite well-known character in the comics who enters the story around this time. So, as soon as he said his name was Jesus, I'm like, oh, so that's him. And plus, I knew that he was going to be a badass fighter, so I wasn't surprised when he got the jump on Rick and Daryl. From what I hear from comic book readers, I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a known main character on the show, at least for a little while. Anyway, overall, I found this storyline interesting enough. It was a bit of fun seeing them struggle, go back and forth, but it was nothing spectacular, nothing that blew me away. What I really found tacky was the side plot with Spencer and Michonne going off in the woods, and Carl and Enid being out there as well. I mean, these storylines were okay, but again, this is the kind of long, drawn-out character storylines I've come to dread from The Walking Dead, and personally, I think result from the show having to do too many episodes each season. Because Spencer's probably just going to die in a couple episodes anyway, and the reason I say that is because the show always does this. They explore these side characters and then promptly just kill them off shortly after. Plus the guy is a douche, and if there's one thing I've learned from The Walking Dead, it's that douchebags can't be redeemed ever. They all eventually die. While we can it was kind of touching that he had to kill the zombie version of his mom, the moment is kind of undercut by the fact I know he's going to be dead soon anyway, so who cares? You know, I find Enid a lot more interesting. I think her character story is a lot more fascinating and is coming along pretty nicely as she decides she no longer wants to sneak out all the time and be a little brat. Almost as if she's realizing the importance of community. And I hope she does take Maggie up on her offer to go talk to her. But Carl, on the other hand, he was being a little brat, and I didn't find that pep talk at the end where he said he'd kill Michonne if she were a zombie, and she was like, "Aw, I'd kill you too." I'm sorry, but that was a little bit cheeseball. Speaking of Maggie, though, anyone else pissed off we didn't get to see Maggie and Glenn together in this episode? They spent so much time apart, and she thought he was dead, and Glenn saved her from near death, and we don't even get to see their reunion. Lame. We could have at least had one tiny little scene at the start of the episode that showed them in bed together, or something like that, but whatever. But okay. I'll quit beating around the bush and talk about the thing you really want to hear about, and that is Michonne and Rick shacking up. Meh, It was okay. This didn't bother me. I didn't have a huge gripe about it, but I wasn't excited about it either. As they were, as they were kissing, the words fan service kept repeating in my head over and over again. So there's been a lot of talk about people shipping Michonne and Rick for quite a while, and I was like, nah, you're just being silly. But apparently not. And to be fair, I do think it fits. I think they did build up to this quite nicely, especially in this episode. In fact, I was kind of wondering if they had already shacked up at the start of the episode, as they were being quite friendly with each other. I think it makes sense. They built up to it nicely. But the one thing I will say about this is there goes Michonne's plot armor. On another video, I was speculating on who Negan might kill towards the end of the season, and Glenn was at the top of my list, but Michonne just shot straight to the top of my list because the show cannot have Rick and Michonne stay together. Come on, when you hook up with Rick, that's as good as a death sentence. But who knows, maybe I'm wrong, we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I didn't have a problem with this at all. It's not like when they hinted at a romantic relationship between Abraham and Sasha. In that case, I threw up a little in my mouth as those two had no chemistry whatsoever. But Rick and Michonne, I buy. So my rating for The Next World is a 5 average. Not a horrible episode, but not a particularly good one. The scenes with Jesus fighting over the truck with Rick and Daryl were interesting enough in a cliched I've seen this 1,000 times before sort of way, and Spencer, Michonne, and Carl and Enid wandering around in the woods had its moment, but was ultimately cheesy and pointless, and the big Rick Michonne hookup was fine. It was fine. I didn't hate it. So that's it for my review of The Next World. Be sure to check out my channel every week as I review episodes of The Walking Dead, and also check out my channel for other episode reviews on shows like Better Call Saul, The X-Files, and Vikings, and many videos on Game of Thrones and Star Trek. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all that, and thanks a lot for watching.